Om. Every devotee of Shri Shri 1008 Yogi Raj Mahamandaleshwar Swami Mohandas Ji Maharaj has witnessed and experienced numerous miracles. Mr. and Mrs. Beri have talked about a few of the miracles they experienced, which led them to have the faith in Swami Ji to be their guru. So this is in 1972, the owner of Bombay Jewelers, Dehradun, Shri Rajendra Kumar Beri, and his wife came to Swami Ji seeking his blessings. On the day they arrived at the newly built Jalandhar ashram, Swami Ji was doing prayers inside the cave which was below the ashram. The cave had only one entrance, which was locked from the outside. The Beri couple waited outside the cave in anticipation that they would see Swami Ji's blessing when he came outside. They waited near the door until 2 o'clock and were talking with their relatives, Shri Hari Kishan Diwan and his wife, Shrimati Varsha. Since lunchtime had also passed, they had their lunch at the ashram and again started to wait for Swami Ji while discussing about him. During this time, they witnessed a strange thing. On the outside wall of the cave where Swami Ji was doing prayers, they saw 2 small holes. Now, these holes they noted the next day. Through the holes, they saw a ray of light emitting out. But as it was dark, they kept quiet and started asking each other whether the others had noticed any light coming out of the holes. Now, 10 minutes after this, a young boy from the village came and started saying that Swami Ji was going down the road on a motorcycle. But all of them said that Swami Ji was inside the cave deep in his prayers. As this was the first time the Beri couple had come to see Swami Ji, they didn't understand much about this incident. Later, when it was 10 o'clock in the night, and as they were not able to meet Swami Ji, they were disheartened. So they decided that they would come some other day to see Swami Ji and sat in their car to return back. They had traveled just about quarter of a mile when they saw a huge beam of light coming from the opposite direction. When the light came nearer to them, they saw that it was Swami Ji and he was wearing a white dress. Beri couple and the others stopped their cars and bowed to Swami Ji. Swami Ji gave them prasad and went off towards the ashram. But after sitting in their car, when the Beri couple turned back, they could not see Swami Ji, like he just disappeared. Later, they reached their house, but they just couldn't sleep. All through the night, they were discussing with each other as to how Swami Ji could have gone out of the cave when the door of the cave was locked from outside and they were waiting right outside it for hours and hours. They wondered how it was possible that Swami Ji could have gone out without them noticing him. They also wondered where Swami Ji could have disappeared to immediately after giving them prasad. With the same thoughts revolving in their minds, they got up very early in the morning and started off towards the ashram. When they went to the ashram, prayer was in progress and the Beri couple too participated in the Havan and Arti, which are the holy oblations. Later on, they learnt that Swami Ji was going to Chandigarh as someone had met with an accident there. So on 17th of July 1972 in the morning, Shri Sohan Lal and his son Shri Ratan Lal came to the ashram. They were very depressed and appeared to be frightened. They came and told that misfortune had struck them. They said, "Our elder brother Shri Amarnath's son Shri Om Prakash Ji's daughter-in-law Shrimati Kaushalya Devi has advised us that in this time of misfortune we don't have any option other than surrendering ourselves to the feet of Shri Maharaj. Everyone in the house was crying, and the reason was that Dr. Bansal's only son, Mahesh Kumar, who was a resident of Chandigarh, was riding a scooter when he was accidentally hit and run over by a military truck. And he was severely injured in the head and was laying there unconscious. As soon as the family members heard the news, they immediately admitted Mahesh Kumar at the PGI hospital in Chandigarh. The doctors at the hospital, on seeing his horrible condition, had in a way indicated that the chances of Mahesh Kumar surviving this accident were almost zero. They informed the family members that the patient's body temperature was 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Immediately after coming to know of the accident from Shri Ratan Lal Ji, Swami Ji got ready to leave for PGI Hospital, Chandigarh. Shrimati and Shri Rajendra Kumar, who were present at the ashram when the news came, also expressed their wish to accompany Swami Ji to the hospital. When Swami Ji arrived at the PGI hospital along with the Beri couple, they saw that the entire family of the patient was just sinking in sorrow. Dr. Bansal started crying and said, "Swami Ji, save us. Our entire family is now at your feet. I have only one son, and now he too is betraying me and going away. Please save him." Swami Ji replied, "Doctor, don't be frightened. Console yourself." Then Swami Ji went to the emergency ward where Mahesh Kumar was kept. When he went inside the ward, he saw two British doctors standing along with some doctors of PGI hospital. Mahesh was being given emergency oxygen. When Swami Ji inquired the doctors as to the condition of the patient, they replied in English, "Very serious indeed. There is least hope of survival." They had been pouring buckets full of cold water over Mahesh. Swami Ji said, "Remove the oxygen pipes and stop pouring this water." Then he asked all of them to step outside for 10 minutes. When everyone in the room had gone out, Swami Ji went near Mahesh and kept his hand upon the head of the patient and said, "Mahesh Ji, how is your condition? How are you?" Mahesh Ji smiled and said, "Doctor, I am all right now." Swami Ji said, "I am not a doctor. I am only a servant of Adhyatm," which means spirituality. By now, Swami Ji had called all the members of Mahesh's family into the ward. Then he called the doctors also, had a little talk with them, and had the bed of Mahesh changed. The gloomy situation instantly transformed into a place filled with happiness and joy. When Shrimati and Shri Rajendra Kumar Beri witnessed the above incident in front of their eyes, they were convinced of Swami Ji's greatness. They got ready to go back with Swami Ji to Jalandhar. By now, lot of people had gathered at the hospital, but when they looked for Swami Ji, nobody knew when Swami Ji had gone right through the crowds and had already reached his ashram at Jalandhar. From then onwards, Rajendra Kumar Beri and his wife became close devotees of Swami Ji. Later, when they arrived at the ashram, Shrimati Rajendra Kumar Beri told Swami Ji, "Swami Ji, we are selfish people and we have come to you out of our own selfishness. Now that we have seen ourselves your greatness, we don't have any doubt about your capacity, and we know that you are kind and will not disappoint us. We request you to guide us in the correct and right path." After this, the Beri couple visited Swami Ji as often as they could find time. Gradually, they had several experiences, and it became evident that Swami Ji had divine powers within him. Here's another experience the Beri family had talked about. They said once Shrimati Beri expressed her wish to eat pan. Pan is a preparation of scented betel leaves with nuts. Instantly, Swamiji opened his palms and offered a pan and continued to materialize 16 pans, one after the other, out of his palms, which were eaten by other people at the ashram. And then yet another experience they talk about is when Swamiji visited the Beri couple's residence at Dehradun for the first time. Devotional singing was going on. After the singing was over and prasad was being distributed, Swamiji converted the prasad into dry fruits. In the same way, during another occasion, Swamiji took out a bundle of fresh currency notes worth thousands of rupees. Mr. Beri distributed these notes among a few hundred people assembled there, and in exchange took old notes from them and offered it towards the ashram. The people who were gathered there wondered as to where all these currency notes came from, because Swamiji pulled out these fresh, crisp rupee notes out of a piece of cloth that had been spread right in front of them and which had been completely empty. Swamiji exhibited such miracles numerous times. Once, Shrimati Beri told Swamiji, "Honey came out of the photos of Shri Sai Baba. How is this possible?" Swamiji kept silent at that time. But when Swamiji entered the Beri couple's residence the next time he visited them, not only did honey ooze out of his photo, which was put up on the wall, but fragrance of sandalwood filled the room. Seeing this miracle, a few other people who were present there at that time requested Swamiji to come to their house. Swamiji agreed, and there too, in each person's house, the honey began to ooze in streams from his photos. In this manner, the Beri couple had the opportunity to experience many such miracles, and when somebody told that they had such sort of experiences, the Beri couple too explained to them about their similar experiences. So which means that a lot of people were sharing these similar kind of miraculous experiences. At the behest of Swamiji, the entire family of Beri stopped consuming meat. Prior to this, they were in the habit of eating non-vegetarian food almost daily. So this is the kind of transformation which takes place when one comes under the influence of persons like Swamiji. And here's another example of his miracle. Once, Mr. Beri told Swamiji that he was going to contest for the governorship of Rotary Club. Swamiji said, "Beri ji, you just look after your business and forget about the governorship." But Mr. Beri didn't heed Swamiji's advice, and he contested and lost. Later on, when one more election came, Mr. Beri went up to Swamiji to seek his blessings and asked him whether he could contest at least this time, and requested Swamiji to bless him. Swamiji blessed him and garlanded him 3 months before election was due and said, "I am garlanding you now itself. You will definitely win this time." When the elections came and the results were announced, Swamiji's blessings came true. As soon as Mr. Beri won the election, the first thing he did was to go to the ashram and seek Swamiji's blessing. In this manner, Mr. Beri had many experiences like this in the company of Swamiji. In the next video, we will talk about the miracle of Swamiji turning bags of rice into sugar instantly. Jai Gurudev.